Already then? Yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tony Elshaw, Chairman of the Whig Society, and I'd like to welcome you to the 2022 AGM. We have on the table Michael Quince, Paul Edrington, and Andrew Hosey. So, Andrew, have we got any apologies?
Yes, we do. Now, apologies from our President, Stan Fletcher, from Bob Harris, Dave Esame, Graham Wild, Graham Benjamin, and Tim Apple.
Okay. The minutes of the last year's AGM have been circulated, I believe.
Yes, so do we have any matters arising for those minutes? If we sign this, that's what we're like. For those who were here in Derby, was it, last time? Can we have somebody propose and second that the records be circulated? Right, Nick? And a seconder, please. Right, great. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm just going to do a quick overview of the year. Not in any great detail. I'll leave it to these guys to fill in the rest. First thing I'd like to say is that in May, Mark Walker left us and has left quite a hole in the society. We've got him to thank for where the society is at the moment, really. A really good amount of work for us, and we wish him best with whatever he's doing now. Life priorities change, so he decided to walk away. Lots of more mundane things. We are at a good place financially. We are paying for the workshop and all the standing order bills out of regular donations, and everybody is being very generous with when we ask for an appeal for specific things. It's working? Yes, it is. We have a generator donated to us in a non-operable condition, which we got working. We have eventually got to the limit of our expertise, I think, and had to send it away to be finished. So that was done early on. The stripping of the 58 didn't happen too much during the spring, but in April we 5 members got together and bought a telehandler, commonly called Sammy. And that made us able to lift fairly large components, like the cabs off 58. It has aided us greatly moving stuff around the site. I mean, it is capable of lifting the traction motor up to 2.5 tons, so it's been very, very useful. So, going up. The cabs off 58, we've kept one, we've sold the other, which is travelling around the country and it's going from various people who wonder what to do with it. The one we've kept, we will make it a small visitor attraction. We'll cosmetically restore it, put a seat in it. Might annoy the neighbours by getting the horns working or something like that. You know, for the kids of all ages to have a play inside. So that's the telehandler lifting the cab off. Right. We bought lots of electrical modules. Went over to Toten and with a van and brought back 3 pallets worth of them, 200 odd modules, I think. 192. 192. Weeks of experience. And Drew has spent most weekends since then looking at them, deciding which are viable and which are not. We've finally sent some away for full testing. As the year went on, I'm sure Paul will expound on this, but we did split the traction motors off one of the bogies. It is right at the limit of what we can do, really, because the traction motor weighs 2.5 tons, 2.6 tons. A-frame's rated at 3 tons, telehandler's rated at 2.5, close up. So it's right at the limit of what we can do. But to hire a crane in to do it would cost quite a lot. Come July, the sturgeon wagon that we bought in 2021, the railway have been using it for their PW train, and it had been full of concrete sleepers. We reclaimed that in July in anticipation of our big lift.
Speak up for the last.
I can try. So we had that back, and it's, as you can see, empty. In August, we had, through the generosity of a member, we had 2 containers arrive, which were positioned behind the workshop, used purely for storage. Paul's commandeered one for all these burning and lifting gear. Spare parts going to go in the other one. I'm currently putting electrics and lights into them, and they will go onto the burglar alarm system of the shed, sorry, of the workshop. Also in August, we had our big lift, where we rented 2 rather large cranes, and we lifted the chassis off its bogies, turned it over and put on the sturgeon. And pleased to say everything went really well. And there were no issues. Okay. So that's a brief nutshell of the year. Okay. So I'll hand over to Michael now. Thank you
very much. Yes, basically it's been a very productive year financially. As Terence mentioned, we are quite happily covering all our costs monthly with rents and various bits and pieces for the shed. Just looking at some of the figures, we're getting roughly about just over £2,000 a month coming in. Some months we're getting considerably more with donations. Income so far this last 12 months has been just under £114,500, which I think is quite respectable. Outgoings have been £123,600. Obviously, that's mainly from things like lifting, crane hire, transportation costs, buying generators, and pieces like that. It's all necessary for the long-term plan. It's very healthy. It's quite pleased with this, I must say. The general treasurer's account as of the 1st of October, we opened with 23,500. However, with the costs of buying bits and pieces, that is currently a week just over 13,000. So we've had an income this month of just over £2,000, expenditure of 1,300. And we've got a rolling chassis account, which currently stands, usually fairly static, about 23,700. The electrical console account, which again relatively static at the moment, at £4,600. The Cocoa Club has just paid out again, which is up on the drawers. That usually brings in about £300. The other week, which for Druid, that's at £343, of which half goes to the society and half goes out to prize money. Not great amount, but it brings in a nice few £100 every so often. And then we've got the telehandler account, which we still have about £3,000 in. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's unhealthy. I'm not happy with that. Thank everybody for contributing.
Without the ordinary members, we will be stuck.
Yes.
So it's very much appreciated that everybody gives £2 or £100 a month. Whatever they give, it's starting it, and it adds up. Afternoon, everybody. Glad to see some familiar faces. As you all know, and as you've all seen with the updates, it's been a fantastically busy year. It's been a busy year with a long time in the planning of and execution, which I'm glad to say has proven to have been suitable and sufficient to every turn and everything that we've done and achieved. Because not only have we achieved it efficiently, achieved it safely, and we've moved on a hell of a lot since the last AGM. Obviously, COVID put us back quite a bit, and our plans slid slightly in stripping the 58, and obviously there's outside variables involved in that, as in we're on the EVR, and without their assistance, what we've done couldn't have been achieved. But what we have done, we've done with the approval of the help and assistance. To this end, we very kindly let the EVR use our sturgeon heavily over the winter for emergency permanent wave repairs. And that was the case all the way up to April. She was busy moving up and down the line, full of sleepers, doing its job as it was designed to do and built to do, which we're pleasing to see. And it was really nice to be able to assist the railway without too much detriment to what we wanted to do. November, after our last AGM, myself and Mark Walker inspected, well, we got invited to inspect 45015 at Shackerstone Railway. In the possibility that it may relinquish some spares, and the possibility of a current group frame that would have been of use to us to adapt. Having visited said locomotive many years ago with David Q, I wasn't expecting or prepared for what I saw when I got there. As your engineer, and also with a mindset of I don't want anybody to ever get urged undertaking what we've got to do, no matter how minor. We can always take the time. I assessed this locomotive and I found it absolutely one dangerous hellhole for any volunteer to step foot on. Never mind the roof components. It was utterly horrid. Everything that was any good back in the day was completely wasted and smashed to bits. And I therefore made the decision to move on from that. And we've not going to progress that any further. Attention turned then, obviously with our planning of getting our chassis straight. We've looked after this really well. I can honestly say it pleases me every time I take a cover off it, how shiny and how good the internals of this barely used engine look. We opened the covers again and found no detrimental effect from being outside, and obviously all our storage methods have worked over the years.
However, I was fed up with this and felt that it was time to get the engine under cover. So we did a deal with Imps of Lincoln, who we've had dealing with before, who have always been very helpful in assisting us with advice, as well as being willing to purchase and help us to find possible obsolete parts in the future. And they agreed to take our engine, recommission the engine, fully check the engine, remove the air start, blank it all off, and fit alternators of class 56 design, namely BA 11101A type alternator. So off it went to Imps. We got her loaded on, took her down there now. I had the opportunity to witness firsthand what Paul Wheeler and his company is all about, and the absolute amazing work that goes on there. It might have died in the our workshops, but let me tell you, there's plenty of businesses out there still doing that level of engineering that's one step ahead of everybody else. There was a place full of class 60 components being built, castings for every type of cylinder ever you could think of, on any engine. And it was impressive to say the least. The engine's kept in a well condition. I was looking at it the other day, and it's well stored inside his workshop, awaiting the fitment of our alternator. In the meantime, we had to move fast because we forgot one important thing. Before we sent that to him, we had to work out a way out to get our modified Woodward, an overall 56 Woodward onto our engine satisfactorily. So both myself and Phil hurriedly stripped it off and worked out how the best way of getting it on there. And I'm glad to say we very swiftly come up with a real definite best solution. And Phil very kindly talked Gareth into getting these parts fabricated and machined with TAS, and we were able to get all that into place before the engine even left. And it's a perfect fit every time and adaptable to any engine that we see fit to use. During the winter months, Hanson very kindly supplied us with a fresh RSJ lifting beam, mainly our internal lifting beam, which would be invaluable all the way through this project, failed its test due to being bought. So we got this all drilled, painted, fixed to our beam, ready for test. And it was a worthwhile thing to be done. It's now sat in there capable of lifting 3 ton yet again, many thanks to Hanson. Who also was responsible for donating the low hours body generator that we've got repaired. This is ours, having a look at. To the point where we've got a good friend of ours, I think a very experienced plant fitter, many years experience to come and have a look at it. And he couldn't like it the day going. So he's ended up having to go to Swabbington Diesels, and it's ended up having a full rebuilt diesel pump and all its injectors. But now it works. On the back side of that, we have a deal with the railway, and they want to, because it's part of their expansion plans at Shotton, and the need for power facility. So we feel a pretty decent price for it, which is fair to the railway, and as much as they help us, and we help them, which works wonderfully well. During the winter, it started to become apparent that there was not a lot happening with the GBRF deal and the possibility of any components coming our way from the 69 programme, which worried me. It really did worry me, because I, like many others, were relying on those parts for us to continue and move on. However, February, I had a call out of the blue, which was really welcome from myself and all our volunteers. And UKR Rail asked the question, do we want a fully overhauled Class 56 alternator? which of course my answer was yes, straight away. And obviously it was down for the price and a bit of bargaining, and I feel we got an absolutely cracking deal, considering these machines take up to 60k to be line full. And it's a case of recommissioning in the main bearing, and we've got a fully road alternator to IH1861, which is a fantastic achievement, and has saved us a lot of money in electrical repairs to said alternator. It's now sat at Ibs indoors waiting to be fitted to the IH61, and it's in impeccable condition considering it's spent so many months sat outside. We took the winter time making lots of preparation for stripping the 58 to ensure it went safely and smoothly. Now, it became clear to me that no matter how I tried to align all the variables, all the arrows that needed to be in one line to make this happen smoothly and safely, we were missing one key component. And that was, we had a very expensive undertaking on our hands in plant hire and transport. Namely, hiring a telehandler in, paying for it to get here at £300 a time, paying it to leave site at £300 a time. The only option was quite a few of us to take a long time off work to get it all into place, which we could not do or could not afford. With this in mind, I quickly moved on to the thought of, hey, why don't we purchase a telehandler? So the search started. I looked far and wide. I went to quite a few places in the country and looked at lots of crap for lots of money. In the end, I managed to find one in deepest Wales that basically is a plant enthusiast. They were very kind to actually do a deal with us and send us in 725 at a reasonable price. And we've never looked back with the second. It's enhanced our capability, it's enhanced our safety, how we operate down the yard, and the jobs that we get done. It's a back saver and an hour saver. And I do perceive that we will need this machine for quite some period of time. Same month I had discussions with Christian Hensby, the H&S manager of the Ecclesbourne Valley Railway, and it was a very productive one as we discussed the possibility of buying this machine. And whereas the EVR proposal, they would look at its lower exam, an expensive 6-month programme, it would be on the railway's part of the railway safety case. They would pay for the maintenance and they would fuel the machine in exchange for usage as and when they require, which I feel is an absolutely massive step forward and assists us and mitigates quite some cost around this machine. Prior to the EVR's April diesel gala, we decided that it was about time we started removing our traction motors for assessment. And we hatched a plan to actually let people see what's involved in removing a traction motor, because it ain't easy, no matter what equipment you've got. So on the Saturday of the gala, we did exactly that, educated quite a few bystanders on what we were doing. There were lots of hard work and lots of prep work went into it, but we realised we could have one of these things out in 2 shifts, 2 working shifts, with 4 people. And that day, at 3:30, 4 very knackered volunteers had the first of 3 out and on the ground. And that was a massive milestone for myself, as well as the volunteers involved. The planning of the lifting beam, the shortening of it, the layout of the track, the position and everything was inch perfect and worked very well to say, which I want to say, which has led on to the other 2 traction motors being subsequently removed. And better working practices involved to speed the process up as well. We were absolutely amazed at the condition of the journals on the axles where the traction motor bearings went. how they have survived to that standard to this day, I haven't a clue. But they're pretty good considering. These have all been mic'd up, measured to an infinite tolerance, and we've tend to take all these journals up to clean up at a future date. They are fully recoverable with wood locking, and we intend to do so. Now, the gen set, in May we received it back, and after we'd done what we were told, the frosted diesel tank up she fired into life, which was a massive relief. The railway was straight over to watch it running and agreed to purchase it while their plant had shot up. We were still awaiting our 58 getting moved into petition by end of May, but it was going to happen soon. So in June, we actually got access to it, and it got moved into pole position where we could strip it down. We purchased a professional load cell so we could carefully manage and execute the removal of components, knowing exactly how much every component weighed before we removed it from the chassis. So we did it in a safe, suitable manner, without overloading the machine and putting anybody at risk. It was much fun to actually be getting on with this productive task that we've been planning for such a long time, and it was very hard work for all involved. But everybody buckled down and got on with the job done efficiently. All the diesel tank was pumped dry of all the remaining diesel, and it was carefully removed utilising our turfers, which have proved vital yet again to safely lower the fuel tank in one to the ground, and we got it out of the telehandler. And it left a very bare looking frame and bones, which was pleasing to see. That caused another conundrum. At that time, the Delta was planning to move, and there was stock movements planned on the railway. So we had to make it then safe to shunt. Now, as I've spoken in the past, there was a hell of a lot of stored energy in the springs of a Class 58 in the centre of it. And we borrowed some weights from the EVR, concrete ballast weights, and put them on the chassis to replace the 12 tons we'd actually taken off of the telehandler. At this point, we did a trial separation of the traction centres under controlled conditions. And we quickly realised there was a hell of a lot of stored energy. These pivots separated 5mm within a split second. And we then realised we had to put other things into place to pull the chassis down to the bogies to actually separate. So we weighted it up, we bolted the minimum bolts back up, and off it went on the EVR, down the edge shunt so we could carry on under there railway. We managed to fix a date for all remaining lifting activities in late July. That's when we also got an offer to pass up. The heavy tractor group asked us if we would like some parts from the 37 going for scrap. So we shot down to the GCR one weekend and had quite a lot of fun in obtaining quite a lot of useful parts that were going to be used by the heavy tractor group, help assisting them, and also taking some valuable parts to assist us. There were many fixtures and fittings earned that day that are back to a time when we as a nation produced everything to a style and a standard, and it was second to none. Obviously, these parts are a lot harder to find in this day and age. At the beginning of August, we had another golden opportunity that come out of the blue. It became apparent that the owner of 56097 was selling up, and it had an absolute massive spares collection with this locomotive. Now, it was very unfortunate for Mark to have to sell his pride and joy, but he decided to do it fairly and honestly to railway groups rather than mainline operators. This being the case, it was made an offer for bids on the WNX website, which everybody, I believe, will be familiar So we decided to bid on items that we were hoping to get from GBRF in the 69 programme. I'm glad to say we were successful with most of our bids. So Wednesday just gone, we were able to collect a Class 56 power unit, a spare X56 BA 1111A alternator, which we then took to Marine at Lincoln. We still have to collect 3 air compressors, which were vital to the project, 1 seized, 2 in working condition, 3 spare rubber governors, which are absolutely vital for spares, identical to the rubber governor we've had reconfigured very kindly to suit our traction needs. We've obtained Class 56 rectifier and parts thereof. We've collected 2 more starter motors, as we currently only have 2, and we require 2 every day running. And also traction motor contactors, which we was 1 short of, and we really ought to be chasing down a couple more spares. And also a box of new radiator element gaskets, which for £200 I thought we can't miss those. So we've completed the purchase on all those items. This means now we have 2 complete working alternator sets for both IH 1861 and IH 1863 which is a Fairfield, plus 1 complete spare. That means we will have in the fullness of time the worst carcass of an alternator, possibly the one out of the 58, to dispose of at our leisure. Well, the big lift, when the big lift came along, it were all hands on deck, and many thanks to all the volunteers that come down on that said day and went out and beforehand, helping us get it all prepared. The separation between the chassis and the bogies was executed exactly to plan, and it worked perfectly, and all the stored energy was fully controlled. And as you will see, or if you've already seen, the big lift went the same way, exactly to plan. The last few weeks have seen all of us work hard to reorganise our works to enable the next stage of works to be undertaken efficiently and effectively. There's still lots more work to do, indeed, in our works and with our storage. We have 1 container that's going to be used for bogie spares, and the other container for general spares out of the workshop to create room. And also, we have put our tooling in one as well to keep it out of the way of the workshop and not be unsightly to visitors. This year's activities have been in the planning stage for a massive amount of time. Indeed, this short review of notifiable highlights, it don't reflect the hard work and effort put in by all the volunteers, by no labels. In conditions ranging from freezing cold to raging, and it's the tasks that are not quite as glamorous and enable everything else safely and exactly to plan. Testing control modules, overall in vital parts, the painting, general upkeep and cleaning of components, authorising and writing method statements and risk assessments accurately and to standard. Without all these parts that nobody sees, the hours that nobody has appreciation for, that sit at home and keyboard in a way of what people should and shouldn't be doing, it's these people that come and do this sort of work that's actually driving progress behind where we are now and the shaping of its future in a professional manner. And all it will do is ensure the IDRS 10,000 is constructed to the best standard possible as a local. And it will put the best standard possible as a local. And it will perform. I've got to say, many thanks to him this year, stepping up to the mark, helping us out wherever needed, storage-wise and everything else. It's been absolutely fantastic on the end of the phone always. UK Rail for letting us purchase the alternator and overall one of that, which it was very good of them. The Heavy Tractor Group that's enabled us to get more fixtures and fittings from a Class 37, stuff that we haven't got, and stuff that we need. 56 group for information as well as the 58 group. Nottingham Heritage Railway were absolutely brilliant with us the other day. They ensured that all our lists was ring-fenced by their management team to ensure that we didn't encounter any problems with any member of the public as people when coaching at another world, and they were more than helpful all the way. Railway Vehicles Preservation Group and the actual and the guys that work for them have been a massive help to us this year, and the TPO is something to be over as well. And the EVR, without the EVR, a lot of these goals wouldn't have been achievable at all. Obviously, good planning, good communication, and teamwork, we would have got that locomotive straight, not at all. But most of all, you've got to raise an hand to all the volunteers who achieve these milestones with diligence, due care and professionalism to the required standard. Many thanks to Mark for the hard work and hours of preparation that he's put in to assist us with getting to where we are now this year. It's got to be his most productive one physically on record and visible to everybody else. And we wish him all the best in his future endeavours. I'd like to say volunteering, absolutely top notch, the help that we've had, but there's always room for more, and it's the little jobs that really make a difference. It's the cleaning, it's the hours of cleaning, reorganising. It helps everybody to plan and move forward to the next stage event, which we've been having quite a lot of recently. So, if anybody's thinking about volunteering and getting involved out there, please come forward. We've got some cracking volunteers who've come forward this year, and it really is a massive help. And that's just about it from me this year. I think this year we can all give ourselves a pat on the back for what we've achieved, and let's hope that the next 12 months is productive. And that's me done. Thank you.
Right, now we get to the boring bit that's needed for such a meeting. Election of officers. We don't have multiple choice, so it's yet again a rubber stamping exercise. So I'll start by dealing with the chair, and then Tony can deal with the secretary's role, and then we'll deal with the treasurer's role.
Okay.
Okay, so we have at the minute, Tony has been in the role of chair, and can we have a proposal that he continues in that role for the next year? Yeah, Nick? Right, and the seconder? Derek, got his hand up first? Right, so you are duly... After you've had your break that we talked about last night, he's going to have a holiday in Wirksworth, I think.
I'll be quite fair. Right. We have a proposal that Andrew carries on as secretary.
Right. Drew? Yeah. And
the seconder.
oh, I'll take Nick this time. Right. And then for the role of treasurer, he isn't here today, but Tony Brown is the treasurer and always gets us our accounts on time. Just the one thing is he gets them for free, you know. So one of the people in his office, the lady has a son, a young son who loves 10,000, and so he's a member of the group, and she is our accountant. So Tony always gets us our accounts, and I would like to propose that we continue with Tony. Do we have a seconder? Yeah, Hanson, all right. That's the only officers that we're required to vote upon. But can I ask the people who are listening online to say a yes or no for the arrangements we've just made? If you have any concerns, please type them privately. If you can put a yes or no, I'll record those for the record. And the screen's filling with yeses. And there's no no's, so that's good. Thank you, guys. The other task we have a confirmation of other roles, which it's not the one that say the charity commission are interested or anything, but we have two roles of interest. I think maybe Paul might want to speak about the second one, health and safety. The first one is running the Cocoa Club. We have Bernard at the minute is running the Cocoa Club, and we would say that Michael's a backup to that. And so if both gentlemen are agreeable, we'll continue that for the next year. Yeah. You okay with that, Bernard? Right. Do you want to speak about health and safety at all, and then say who we've got in that role?
Yes. We've been utilising Tony Thompson's excellence, skills and knowledge throughout the railway industry since we were working at Derby Works and to this day at Nemesis. And Tony has been providing us with absolutely superb working methodology and paperwork and controls to the required standard of at least the industry I work in, which is the power industry, without shadow of a doubt. And it's been most helpful, and it has no doubt improved our working practices. For this end, we've been utilising heavily on Tony being our health and safety advisor during all our massive tasks this year, which he goes to every time, and absolutely knows the job. We proposed that we're making our permanent health and safety advisor if he would actually consider taking a task off. And he would assist us all in everything we do, and we definitely would benefit the society.
Thank you. That's great. So we're on to item 9, publicity and fundraising. As you know, Michael's touched on how our bank accounts are, and we have a healthy stream coming in. In this game that we're in, we always need more. It's the nature of the beast. And I know that even some of the leading groups that are building new builds are struggling to fill their appeals at these hard times. So I really do appreciate everything that's given to us, and the confidence that's given to us to fulfill the work that we're doing so far. We have been able to acquire things which will ultimately save on the end price of the local. Some things that Paul already talked about, that had we had to overhaul the 58 alternator, it would have cost X amount. Yeah, hundreds of pounds. Whereas we got the overhauled alternator. We're also appreciative of the advice that we've got of industry experts that confirm that the setup that we're going for is correct. So that's something to be thankful for. Publicity, we've had a few articles, particularly in 2021, Well, there are a few articles and adverts in a variety of the railway press. They do cost quite a bit, and most times we get a lot more back in terms of donations. Sometimes I chalk them up to just simply publicity and getting the word out there, but overall, yes, we do get roughly twice the amount back that we put in, so it's probably worth doing as well as the sheer publicity factor. I tend to put adverts in when we've got some news to accompany it. So there's two things going on in the same magazine. That's all I want to say about that. Do we have anything that we want to say about moving forward that we haven't already touched on? What is next?
Yeah, we're planning a massive step change on how we do things. We're reorganising the works as we speak, which is not a 2-minute process. And everybody is doing a cracking job getting that job to the standard it needs to be. We've got to reorganise his working practices in as much as we need further delegation looking forward over the next 12 months. Everybody knows I work 60 hours a week. I've been on top of that. Basically, I've told jobs for the last 12 months since Matt left. And burnt the midnight oil far too far too many times, and I don't want to drop of oil anywhere, not where this comes from. So we definitely need to look at delegation of jobs and responsibilities and how we can improve moving forward by this delegation process. And who's willing to do it as well. With more volunteers would be most welcome moving forward. Judging by the results of the people that have come to our door to our this year, hopefully that's going to be forthcoming annual survey of it. There's going to be a lot of things going on behind the scenes, design-wise and approvals-wise, which we've got involvement, ideas, and help from others will be painfully received. And this is what we need to actually move forward within 2020.
Anything wrong? One thing I wouldn't put out was I'm still happy to be sort of deputy treasurer. Yeah. Because it could be more here. Yeah, we just didn't make the goal now. Yeah, that's just as well.
Right. Let's go on to any other business. Michael, do you want to explain this painting for a moment, please?
A while ago, let's say just a while ago, it was meant as a fundraising. I suggested over a painting. I have trained as an artist a few years ago now. So that is the twins leaving Euston on the first four stops when we were put together. And it's slowly coming along, it's in oils, and that will be produced as a limited print in due course as a fundraising item.
I think it's also promised to those who donated early back in 2017.
Notch ones.
Yes.
I can't remember which notch it was, but yes. It's coming along.
The thing that I want to raise is in around 2017, when we had fundraising appeals, one of the things that we said that we would do for donors was that we would invite them to a private viewing of our kit. That was back in the days when our kit was distributed in Joe's Field and Bert's Lockup and all this, in various places. And since that time, we've obviously come together in one place and there's been COVID. So we're aware that we haven't fulfilled on giving early donors some kind of something special in terms of coming to see our kit, but we are aware that we have to offer that. And now that COVID is hopefully not going to rear its head again, we can arrange something probably for next summer when it's warmer. Whether it's a visit matched to meet the trustees in a pub or something and have a good old conversation in depth with any of the early donors who fitted in those schemes who'd like to come along. That's just my idea, but we'll have a talk about it and see what we can offer, because we're no longer operating out of Bob's Field and that's lock up.
We're still in two centres though, aren't we? We've got material difference. We've also got still work to.
Yes.
It's possible we have to come into a visit to it at the same time.
I can organise limited tours of things for a limited number. And that's possible. It's in Lincoln. It's easy. Really easy.
It's Lincolnish.
Let's say 46.
Yeah.
It would be good for them to see the end without the covers on.
Yeah.
So every photograph so far generally has been.
That gives them something unique.
Yeah.
There's not all of that to be added there. Proportions completely being redone from the Grand Case. I want to say, all acres to be over all day. And the stuff that was in there sent to them.
Talking of the stuff, are they happy with that one or something?
It's identical to what a flat 56 is, but identical to 158 is. There was only the hours stipulated in the early 60s that they had to have a drop some that cost the maximum fortune to cast. And there was a big massive waste. The taxpayers believe it.
Is there any other business?
Yeah, and we want to put on my thanks to the team, thanks to the volunteers. And of course, as we've dealt with the out of respect, I know we're only involved in some various, but yeah, thanks from myself to everybody's hands-on, and thanks from the volunteers as well.
Agreed.
Date of the next meeting.
Next year.
Yes, so the 7th is the relevant Saturday in October. We want to keep it literally the same. There's been discussion over the venue. Obviously, there was discussion last year saying, why don't we make it Wirksworth? And so we tried Wirksworth. The internet connection is a bit ropey. It's out of my phone here to my laptop to abroad. The alternative is that we go back to Derby, because there have been some complaints that people couldn't make it here. So I don't know how people feel here.
What's India, obviously we have to work in Manchester in India, what if we were to rent a country with 14 different developers and stuff, people could get developers and have the AGM and whatnot. A bit different perhaps, but if you can best of both worlds, you get to work with president.
Possible.
We probably need to feel not that.
Sorry, yeah.
We've not extended that far yet.
Not yet, not down, just a little opposite,
It's possible.
Yeah, because I've got no negotiation.
Do we want to take a straw poll here?
I'm disappointed that day, if we're going Saturday,
Yeah.
they'll be running.
Yeah.
Is that the chance we could chat?
If there's, yeah, if there's, yeah,
What goes on the flights and trains, yeah.
They do some trade money occasionally. If it's possible, we could have.
So,
you can ask the question.
yeah, that aside, can I just take a straw poll here? I'll ask who would come to a meeting in Derby and who would come to a meeting in Wirksworth. I might get the same answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who would come to Wirksworth?
Yeah.
Is this the same answer?
It depends on the transport, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the way I'm just starting to say, the train must like, I couldn't get there, so trains are running. There's
Yes,
some flexibility either.
yeah, I mean, we can give lifts within reason.
Yeah. We're on the station, got 3 seats.
Yeah, I mean, somebody online saying Wirksworth's difficult from the north, which it is. You've got to get a train to Derby and then move back. And yeah, Derek's also saying virtual is good from San Diego. So I'm thankful that somebody in San Diego can actually see this. Obviously, there's various opinions, so we're going to have to go away and think about it. We're inevitably going to disappoint somebody. But this idea of the train, the carriage, will also have to be thought about. But are we okay with the 7th as a prospective date?
Yes, you want not.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
And shopping for.
What would you want to take 13?
Really, non-stop.
Open forum. Has anybody got any questions?
On the one.
Right, there is one, is will you be attending the GWSR again?
We'd like to.
We'd like to, yeah.
It's always a good weekend down there.
I always wanted to go to the Spa Valley. And we did plan it and then
We
COVID
did,
came along.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, we haven't done it.
You're not allowed to do it for training, any of them.
Yeah.
Can I just remind you to everybody that we will be, so we will be at work there more than most.
Yes, there will be a warning on the railway in November.
Oh,
What size is it? Half the size we had last time or the same size?
Same size as last time. So,
I was just, it's probably worth just mentioning that the shed's open so that after this is finished, anybody who's welcome. It's only about 10-minute walk for people who don't know what's easy to get to, have a little more set.
Yeah, we can walk it down there.
And the kettle will be on.
You don't feel the old, isn't it, fella?
that should be there as well.
Second half.
It's not there.
Any other questions or comments?
Anything on? Any more questions online?
There's somebody saying, Derby's better than we could try going to San Diego, I suppose.
What for the day?
For the afternoon.
I just think you could say Sunday acre.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you all for coming. I hope it's been okay for you.
yes.
Steep learning curve for us, I think. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
See you down the workshop.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay.